View from the Top. I'm Modele Sharafa, and I thank you for joining us. It's been an interesting few weeks with the general elections already won and lost. Well, won and in the bag for those whose opponents considered defeat, but work in progress for those whose victory is being contested. At 37, Mr. Donald Duke became one of Nigeria's youngest governors. He served 2 terms from 1999 to 2007 in Cross River State. During his tenure, Governor Donald Duke was credited with having initiated a variety of reforms, promoting businesses, tourism, and investments in Cross River State. He was a presidential aspirant in the 2007 elections, and he joins me today to discuss what else? Politics. Your Excellency, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here's a brief biography before we begin our conversation. Donald Duke was born in Calabar on 30 September 1961. He received a law degree in 1982 from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Shortly after completing this program, he joined the Washington, D.C. law firm of Baker and Hostetler as an associate. And upon his return to Nigeria, he teamed up with some colleagues to establish the Lagos law firm of Onya and Duke. He was also a chairman of Allied Merchants and Brokers Limited. Before becoming governor of Cross River State, he served as Commissioner for Finance, Budget and Planning, was also a member of the National Economic Investigative Committee, and served in the Federal Economic Council. Governor Duke, sometime in 2010, you said that an INEC chairman has little or no bearing on the success of an election. Do you still hold that view after the 2015 elections?
He has little or no influence because he's just receiving results. A lot of undue credit or otherwise is given to him that he's manipulative on that day. No, he can't.
What impressed you the most about these elections, and how can we keep the momentum going?
The introduction of technology. The fewer hands involved in the process, the more authentic the results would be. So accreditation, for one thing, reduce the numbers, the exaggerated numbers that could be imputed into the results. But I look forward to a time when there will hardly be any paperwork involved. So just as you use a thumbprint to authenticate your person, you also use your thumbprint to do the actual voting, which is recorded instantly electronically. That way we could gradually reduce manipulation of results to the barest minimum.
Why do you think we still have this apathy among voters? In Lagos, for example, there were 5.8 million voters registered, but on the day of the presidential elections, only about 1.4 million came out to vote.
Well, from the time of registration, which could be 2 years prior to the elections, to the time of actual voting, there's been a lot of movement of people. So you have folks who move completely out of the state or who move away from the vicinity from where they registered. People are quite mobile. Then there are people who have left the state completely. You know, so then of course there's also the apathy. But the apathy is more with the elites. The elites are still not participatory enough in elections. You know, I think that contributes largely to it.
What can we do to get more people to participate as candidates, especially more credible people to participate as candidates, to run for office? Because it's generally believed, and I don't know if you agree with that, that we're not presenting our first 11, so to speak.
We need to raise the level of consciousness amongst the elite population, right? We also need to ensure that the political space is not as acrimonious as it is. A lot of them will tell you, oh, it's too scary, I can't get involved. But it's scary because they are not involved. It's scary because they've allowed the 4th and 5th 11 who know they ought not to be there, and therefore they're desperate to hold on to what they have, you know, to create that environment that makes it unpalatable for them to be there. Okay? If quacks take over, the practice would degenerate to reflect their status. Okay, so it's really incumbent on the elite population. We the elites, have not participated and have not done enough to move the country forward.
It's still talking about the last elections. Most of the hotly contested election results are from the South-South and the Southeast. Would you vouch for the process in Cross River State, for example?
There are still areas of compromise. In Cross River State, there are areas that are wildly compromised, and I hope they will be redressed in court. But you really hope that we don't have to go through that process over and over again. I'm alive to the one in Cross River because I was there during the process. In a few of those cases, I think some people who ought not to have won had the party or the political structure in their favor and influence the results.
Talking about parties, you are a PDP member. Or
yes, I am.
Maybe I should start by asking, are you still a PDP member?
Yes, I am.
I ask because you formally resigned your membership in
I was frustrated. You see, you join politics for certain ideals, particularly in your 30s, when you had other options. I had other options other than politics. But I felt that I couldn't just be a bystander in society and see things go on. I felt that, with my level of education, exposure, I should be doing more than trying to make money. But after that, I was a bit frustrated. I mean, this is not what I wanted. But of course, there's a lot of pressure that was brought to bear on me. You can't do this, you can't build a house and abandon the house. And so go back, you can change the PD from within and not from without. And that is true. So I went back, but muted.
What happened to the PDP, and at what point do you think they missed the plot and began this downward spiral that resulted in the loss of the presidential elections? Arrogance creeped in. You hold on to this power, and the leaders are turned into deities. I think it has something to do with our primordial state of mind. When you're a king, it's like you are the representative of some god on earth. So we deify our leaders. They become very arrogant in power. And I'll give you a classic example. 5 governors threatened at the time to walk out of the party. And the party leadership said, let them go. Okay? But I think by the time they allowed those 5 governors walk away, the arrogance had gone to its zenith. I also think they were so arrogant, they thought that those governors were the ones that would threaten the renomination of the president, right, in the party's primaries. They didn't care about the general elections. So they were happy to let them go?
Absolutely. Once the president gets renominated in the primaries, the elections, the general elections, is a foregone conclusion. That's where they got it wrong. They were totally out of touch with the reality on ground. That's, I think, what happened.
What does PDP need to do to be a formidable opposition party?
It has to go back and re-strategize. It's done, a number of things have gone wrong. First of all, we need to have an opposition in the country. It's wrong it will be a very sad epitaph to allow the PDP to just fizzle out. That would be wrong, not just for the party.
But all of the PDP members are migrating to APC.
Absolutely. That's a sad thing. For the country, we need a strong opposition party to keep those in authority on their toes. That's one. 2, we need to ask ourselves some very salient questions. Where did we go wrong? PDP, in some sections of the country, offended the electorates there. The handling of certain issues, the handling of Boko Haram was very poor and did not show empathy. The economic situation in the North was not seen to being addressed. The extravagance of